Shut up and sit down.
Oh, hi. Welcome back. So, what have we been up to? Kenny Roberts' bike is in primer. Just a little quick preview. Barry Sheene is done. So yeah, let's just bring that in. This has just been through the spray booth and had a quick coat of Steiner Res, as you can see. This is first coat of primer on that lot. Says as he's knocking everything flying off, and then that leaves me all the little greeblies. Okay, so whilst that primer's drying, I'm going to do a little bit of brush painting. What have we done? We've started the rear brake, gunmetal in the middle and aluminium, and then I should go back over the middle with a bit more gunmetal just to make that a little neater. Front brakes there, again gunmetal centre, flat aluminium brush painted around the outside, and what I do is I alt brush steel and I spin the disc round, and then I've got the little copper nuts and bolts and that to do towards the end, but I want to gloss coat them first before I do that. And they're going into me drawer, rear wheel, front wheel assemblies. The engine has had a coat of gunmetal, a little bit of flat aluminium in the centre, and then a bit of Multol chrome marker. In case you've not seen them before, it's liquid chrome, comes in a marker pen, and you just whop it around the cylinder heads and it gives like a chrome effect. And then I'll paint the spark plugs in a minute, so I'll leave him out. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. Let's get a couple of detail brushes down. Oh, he says knocking everything flying. It's one of those days today, Festa. So let's put that back and knock the other one off. Why don't you? So that's what I'm going to be using today. I'll get me visor so that I can see what I'm doing. And that's what we'll be up to, I reckon. Let's put the right lens on, so I'm going to have a bit of gold around here, and then these caps are black, but there's a little white band that goes in there and all. So I'll get the gold out. I'll do all the gold first. A little shaker-rooney, that's X12 gold leaf, in case you wondered. And I'll put a tiny little amount on the brush, and I just go around, pick out the gold on the nut. Just pick it out. Don't worry if it doesn't give complete coverage on its first coat, because you can always go back over it. A little bit of gold. Make sure I'm on camera. Like so. Again, I'm not worried if I get anywhere I shouldn't do, because that's where the cotton bud comes in handy in a minute. So there's a quick coat of gold on there. Dig out my brush cleaner. bit of grotty old X28 in there, that's all that is. But it's ideal between colour change. I'm just going to change the angle of my camera. How's that? That's better. Bingo. So is my poor old back. Right. So let's have the gold. Let's get a bit blackaroony out. Just check the colour call outs to make sure that I'm painting everything the right colours. Black pipes, etc. Matte black, yeah. On that bad boy. Yeah, that is chrome. So there's just a couple of bits of black to go on the engine rockers or whatever you want to call them. So, I'll drop my visor down so I can actually see. Little bit of black. Just on there. Just quickly make sure I've done underneath. Like that. There you go. Right. And then I've got to put black on the tops of the spark plugs as well. Just come down onto the plug lead, like so. Do the top parts first, the parts that are nearest to you, because you can always come round and capture the other bits when you turn the engine round. Just so he's having to keep faffing around and turning things as you go. Just let you see start turning. I've got to turn that way. Capture all four of those and then come round again, come underneath there, round that edge there. Like so. Like that. Wait. There you go. A little bit of detail. That's all it takes. Let's do the bracketry black. On the side like so. So I'm going to coat the whole thing and then come back at it with the chrome, so that you guys can get to see how Multile chrome works, in case you haven't used it before. Just like that. There. So that's another bit done on the engine. So I'll let that dry. That can go in the engine cubbyhole. We can start doing the carbs now. Get them beasties done. Actually, I've got my black still, haven't I? Change of plan. Say keep changing pots of paint. I've got some bits that need a quick dabblage of black on them. That does. That does. That does. That's all the carbs. There should be another one under there. I had a couple of handlebar rods somewhere. That's black. They're black. They're black. They're getting done with a spray gun. But they could be brush painted. Yeah, we're back, so let's get that continued. So we're carrying on with the black. Yeah, go on, say it. Bloody hell, Festa, make your mind up. And all this is this is just the foot pegs, etc. So that we can get that all in the appropriate colours at this stage. Good Mr. Roberts ain't put his feet on, wouldn't it? Another really great motorcyclist, I must admit. Kenny Roberts, bloody legend. Legend's a word that gets used too freely these days, but where he's concerned, yeah, it applies. If you get a chance to watch some reruns of races involving him, Barry Sheene, yeah, you'll get what I mean. I think even a non-motorcyclist or motorcycling fan would look at that and think, bloody hell, how do they do that? There you go. I say a couple of foot pegs. Boom. Get me some of that. Let's put a bit of black on there. Da da da. My only aim here is just to get coverage, just to get rid of the primer. That's all I'm interested in. So I am a bit haphazard as I brush paint the first layer on, but because these are such tiny parts, any brush strokes are going to be very minimal, if at all visible, so I'm not worried about this. Something like the main frame, swing arm, things like that, then yeah, I'll whop through on the airbrush. But little greebly parts like this, you know, they're pretty much hidden away under the fairing, you're not really going to see them. So I can be a little less considerate when it comes to brushing them up. Okay. Pardon me. Another one bites the dust. And these will dry in next to no time. Guess it's got a little box of electronics on the back of it. Some dials and clocks. Just adds a little bit of interest. Breaks the monotony of the colours up. You can have a bit of artistic license with some of this. I've got pictures of the bike on screen just out of shot. In front of me I have a PC monitor because I've got a server next to me which is humming away quite nicely in the background on 90% of my videos, in case you ever wonder what that is. So yeah, I do all my live streams and everything from in this room where the bench is. So in front of me, just up there, is a flat panel. But where it's connected to the main server, I can have all my research photographs that I've taken and acquired over the years of all of my builds and projects and stuff, just so that I can have a quick look at it and go, yep, that's as accurate as I'm going to go. You know, it depends on what you're after. You know, something like a bus I did with personal posters and things like that. If you're doing a commission for someone and it's a subject that they're fond of or that they know, you can't always get away with using a bit of artistic license because they want it made or built a certain way. So that's when you have to be, I'm going to cringe now, become a little bit of a rivet counter, because you know they're you know paying you to build them a kit that needs to be historically accurate. This is why a lot of us, after a while, steer away from commission builds, because you have to be so strict with them, and you're limited or chained by the subject matter, and it might be a subject that you've got absolutely no interest in whatsoever, but you've still got to give that commission kit the 100% respect that the client is paying you for. So you do have to bite the bullet sometimes. Can be a little frustrating, so I tend to shy away from commissions now for that reason. You know, there's a place for them, I suppose. I've got a couple of people that are asking me to do them builds, but I'm delaying at the moment whilst I catch up with all of my stuff. And this is on with a bit of liquid chrome just round the bells on the carburettor. Give that a little bit of pimpage. Just gives that a little bit of shine. Then I should be coming back at these carburettors to do the top caps and things like that, so they're not finished by a long shot. But whilst me Moltol dries, they can live in the drawer. At least I know where they are, because they are tiny. All you're doing, excuse me, is drawing the chrome on, like so. That's all you want to do. I'll just drop it in there. I mean, they are so tiny, you're probably not going to see them anyway, but they're there. that's that. Got some flat aluminium to come on for those bits. You can live up there out the way for a bit. Actually, you'll shove them over there. I know where they are then. They're just the visor clips for the crash helmet. Right, let's have a look for some flat aluminium. There. Get a bigger brush for that because it's the fork bases and the swing arm now. So we might as well. I tend to go over the whole thing and then I can come back and pick out any detail later on with a detail brush. So I'm not again too fussed. I'll just want the look of aluminium on these. Right there, loads on there. Like so. Don't be afraid of slapping it on. Thank you, Ted. If you get a chance, pop over to Skipper Models, Skipper's Workshop. Give Ted a visit. Does some lovely, lovely work. He really does. Currently building a huge U-boat, but if you get a chance, sit and watch his Panzer builds and these Oshkosh, especially those of you that are interested in armour. You know, he does some wonderful work. Pleasant chap. And I think you'll enjoy his stuff. So, Skipper Ted's Models. Pay him a visit. Sure, he'll be happy to see you. So, nice bit of flat aluminium on them bottoms. There's the actual fork tubes are chrome. And then it's the same with this. Now you've got to bear in mind you're going to have the chain rattling around on here. So I'm going to shove it out the way when I come to do that side. Because I don't want it flapping around like, you know, a flapping around thing. I have to clean that up then. Family show. Some of that on there. Come away, all the way down there. And on that pin there. But leave the rod in the middle. Because I'm going to chrome that bad boy. Bit of model. Don't worry if you get any paint on it, it's not going to affect the chrome. And I can get all the detail done on this in 1 hit. Once this aluminium's gone off, all I wanted to do is get the first coat of aluminium on there. Just to give it a little bit of colour. To start double rolling. whilst I'm still holding the chain, come underneath, capture any bits under there. Through the chain there. I'm not worried about painting the chain yet, because obviously it's going to end up getting bits of aluminium paint all over it. Crud and Christ knows what, so the chain will be done separately. It's just when you build it, you've got to remember to put the chain on, because otherwise you'll never get it in there. I've seen a few people get caught out like that and have to cut the chain, which you can do. You just got to be careful where what place you cut it. You know, I could easily cut the chain and get it out of my way and just reassemble it and glue it back together. But because I'm doing this as a step-by-step out of the box, perhaps not everyone's going to have the confidence to start hacking a kit apart like I would. So that's why I've done it that way, in case a few of you that know me out there are wondering why. Because I'm doing this as an out-of-box build. So that's that. Not sure what colour the suspension spring is. I think it was black, if I remember rightly, on the bike. I don't think they went in for fancy reds and fluorescent yellow coil springs back then, so I shall do that a nice shiny black. Colour on that. And that'll be done with the airbrush when I do the frame. The spring. Put my gold leaf back now. Keep the paints neatly together. So they're going to dry. Will dry off quite nicely. Detail brush can stay down. Off for a minute. So that's the brush paint inside achieved for the moment, and then that will leave me a couple of bits to do with the airbrush. Yeah. Okay, what have we got there that I've just spotted? Little tiny bits there. La 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 la. Need those. So what are they for? Are they more fairing mounts? Yes, they are. Well spotted, Uncle Festa. Yeah, see? But it doesn't tell you in the instructions to put them on. Probably does. It's probably staring right at me. Here's the canisters. They're actually chrome. Come on, it's going to show you to attach them. I know. Yeah, there it is. These little greeblies go into the frame. Okay. Parts numbers 30 their chrome. Number 13. I think that's a fuel cap. There's the main fuel cap, which is aluminium. Aluminium, yeah, and there's another one. Aluminium. Happy days. And that's on top of the tank. Yeah. D13's the radiator cap. Chrome silver, I'll have that. There's another little bit that I've been looking for on the instructions for ages. And do you think I can find it? I wonder whether that's something to do with the fork yokes. Perhaps a retaining clip of some kind, no? I haven't seen that anywhere on the instructions. Number 6. Let's go right down to the beginning. Probably find it ain't used. Is it 6 or is it a 9? No, frame was a 9 on there. Yeah, D9, right up there. See that little bit? So let's see whether we can find it. Da 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 da. It's going to be staring right at me, isn't it? Answers on a postcard. Can't be that far. Ah, spider. It's to retain the coil spring. Cool. Happy days. So we now know all the bits are. So let's get that done. So there you go. So that's how to coat the chrome. Comes up really well, that stuff and all. Like so. Around the weight. Just like that. Chrome. These two are chrome. I'm going to do that chrome as well. Solid. I've got my pen out. These are basically go onto the frame to attach the fairings to. So, come round the way. done. There. Hello. Like so. Happy days. Grab that one. Give me chrome. Just come around and do the edges of the gauges there. Like so. A few dots. There you go. See? Just accentuates that a little bit. A chrome mounted rod on there, so I can lose my hook now. Chrome that rod, because it's the same type of rod that held the fair ends on, like so. Let's turn that around, bring that in place. Like so, and that just gives you a little bit more detail on your piece. Just try and handle that in a way that I don't drop it like that. There you go. And as you can see, that's just given that tiny little piece of realism. Yeah. So I think that is all the little greebly brush painting parts done there. That just leaves us the main areas, the main parts to paint, which will be the frame, the radiator, wheels and body panels. So that'll be a session with the airbrush anyway, to get them up to speed. Let's paint me little canisters white whilst I think of it. So that'll be in the next episode. A bit of spray booth work for those of you that haven't used airbrushes and are thinking of getting airbrushes. It might just help you make a decision on whether or not it's for you or not. It's a steep learning curve, but once you've learned, it can really come in handy. It's one of them, you know, I mean, I prefer airbrushing myself. Unless it's really fine detail work, of course, and then I'll brush paint. There's no point in me firing up the airbrush to paint a part this size. You know, a few layers of brush painting and that, and I can achieve the result without the hassle of setting up all my spray booth and all of that gubbins. So that's definitely all the brush painting now done. Get rid of that. Let that all dry today, and then I'll set my booth up tomorrow. Give everything a quick once over, and then it'll be dry, and then we can quickly gloss coat things that need gloss coat, and I'll go through what I use as gloss coating material, media, and it might save you guys a few money, few quid if you're spending a lot of money on gloss coats and that. I've you know, I might be able to save you a few quid there. So I'm going to pause there, grab a cup of tea, something to eat, and then when we come back, we'll have the spray booth all set up for you, and we'll start spraying the bike. So I'll see you in a bit. Bye bye for now. So we're going to have a little bit more brush paint in there on the handlebars. So we'll get some black paint, and then the centre part's chrome on these, and then the outer part is aluminium on the brake levers. So again, this is just the first coat, just to get something on there. Come along like so. Come around. Like that. Come along. Like so. What else have we got? A bit there. Do the same with the other side. Not that you're going to see a lot of this because Kenny's hands are going to be on these, but it's still a nice little habit to get into, just to put the detail work in. Just helps bring the model alive. Slip that up inside there. Hey, just makes a difference. Just that little bit of effort. I'll shut down my teeth for a moment. Get some aluminium back out. Get my brush done out. Slide the sleeve on the back of it, I think, so I don't put it down and lose it. Da 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 da. Like so. Cloth. There you go. It's ready to come back to work. Note to self, I must clean the neck of my Tamiya pot. These are aluminium, so we'll get them coated. So I'm going to shorten some of these sticks. They're alright having them long. Every now and then, especially when you're filming, could do with them just being a little shorter. so. The middle part of these is chrome. So I shall let the aluminium dry before I do the chrome work, I reckon. That will be the safest option. So we'll get that in there out of the way, and then we want a bit of gunmetal and a bit of gold for the next bit, which is the front calipers. So I'll get them painted whilst it's on my mind. Loo at what we got there. Yeah, just to try and break this up into some little interesting sections. Do the bracket in gunmetal. Like so. Which will then leave the caliper in gold. I mean, that'll just add a little contrast to it. Nothing major, but just enough. I think, anyway. I could be wrong. Do a bracket on that as well. In gunmetal. Like so. Yeah. That'll work. Do those in gunmetal. Get that a second coat. Before the chain gets done. So happy with that. Get that quick done out. I'll only leave then a bit of chrome on the forks Da da da. Like so. Just like that. You know that sitting there quite happily drying now. Just like that. So that's that. Come round here. Give this little caliper a coat. Again, just to keep the eye interested. Like so. A little golden nut on there. Just pick that out. Like so. Come over the top. Around the caliper. On there. Just to keep things looking neat. And that is that. See, so that's at the coat of gold. Very much done and dusted on that. Get the brush a little clean. And we get some white back on them tanks. A little bit of model air. White, just a smidge. All I want, so I usually just fling a little tiny bit on me cutting mat. I've got a wet palette just outside the shop as well. Let's give this brush a clean on some Masters brush cleaner, I think, in a minute. It's just splitting in half. So there's obviously a lump of paint stuck in there somewhere. There you go. Do that for now. Get some Masters out. Give this brush a little A little bit of love and attention. First things first, watching some grubby X20A. Get most of the crap out of it. Little dip in a pot of fresh water that I've got to my right hand side, and I'll just start getting some of this soap. That's probably the easiest way to stay away of calling it, into the bristles, and then I come across my knuckle. I just paint little X's across my hand, and my aim is to get this not only in the bristles but up into the ferrule as well. So I'll just give it a bit of that, and then I'll rub the ferrule itself across back of my knuckle, and then just start circling the brush. And all of this stuff on the back of my knuckle, see that? It's all come out of these bristles. Okay. Come to a clean bit of my hand, and I'm now getting no residue whatsoever off that brush. Give that a little clean, and there you go. Okay? It's good stuff. That dirty ferrule, clean ferrule. Store that up there, give me knuckle a wipe, and that is what I use. Get yourself some. Yeah, the Master's Brush Cleaner and Preserver. Absolute godsend, especially if you've got a stack of knackered brushes like I have. You can save yourself a small fortune by just giving them a really decent clean. Right, I'm going to pause there, set me booth up, and then we'll come in and we'll spray the rest of the model. See you in a bit.